Also, a little fun housekeeping. We will be giving away a $50 Amex card for the winner of our little trivia game. So stay tuned. Jason will explain. It's very fun. And if you could do me a big favor, stay on mute and turn off your video. I'll be going off video. We want to give our presenters their video time so you can focus on them.
Oh, I think Nicole.
Yeah, I think we might have lost her.
Yeah. Well, as Nicole was saying, if you can, just turn off your video for the panel segment, and then after that segment, feel free to turn it back on, and because we'd love to see all of your beautiful faces.
NextGen.
So
she might try to jump in here. So Caitlin, do you want to just take over from here?
Yeah, I'll take over. So a little bit about NextGen. So I'm Katie Kandari. Sorry, I'm one of the core team members of the NextGen ERG. And I just want to give a little bit of background about what we do as a NextGen team. So we're committed to providing a supportive and basically really fun environment for all professionals of all levels. Doesn't matter your age. You don't have to be a millennial or a Gen X or a Gen Z maybe at this point. So we want to extend our meetings and our team to all of Realogy professionals. We also strive to partner with other ERG communities and be cheerleaders for the ERG community. Because obviously Realogy is a really great place to work. So if you have any questions about NextGen, you can reach out to me or you can reach out to Nicole and we'll let you know a little bit more. So right now, I'm very excited to pass it over to Jason Groendyk, who's going to continue our conversation with a panelist of 3 amazing Realogy professionals. So Jason, if you want to take it from here. So if everyone that's not presenting can just turn off your cameras, that would be great. And then we'll see you back in a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. Glad everyone could make it. A little intro myself, Jason Groendyk, Realogy Talent Acquisition and Planning Team. Also a member of the NextGen core team, leading with careers. Awesome to have these 3 awesome women on our panel today. We're going to have some questions that we're going to go through. But first, to start us off with some intros, Donna Basilavecchio, VP of Customer Experience at Realogy here. Iris Kaifa, Manager of Agent Recruiting and Retention here at Realogy. And then Lindsay Listanski, VP and National Public Relations and Communications at Coldwell Banker. Lindsay might win for the longest title of her job, as an intro here. So glad to have all of you. We are going to do a quick intro, and we're going to do 2 truths and a lie. So based on those 2 truths and a lie, I feel like I didn't explain this at the last session. Please put in the chat after we post what they are, what you think the 2 truths or the lie might be out of that individual group. Whoever says them first will win a gift. In this case, a $50 Amex card, which is awesome. So we'll start, Donna, with you. If you could just do an intro to something about yourself, about your career, and your 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. Thank you. Again, my name is Donna Basilavecchio. I am currently the VP of Customer Experience, and I work in the IT organization. I have been at Realogy since 1993, and have grown my career has been groomed by being in very different departments and very different roles throughout my career. So I started in accounts payable as a temp. In handling expense reports, processing expense reports was my first job here when we used to have that internal. Spent 5 years in finance, then moved into brand work. I spent approximately 7 years working in Century 21 in roles in both the education and operations area of that brand. And then most of the rest of my career has been in IT and shared services, both on the business and the technical side of the house. In between, I completed my undergrad degree in accounting in 1995 and my master's degree in 2006. So that's kind of how my career has grown. I grew up in this organization, and it's been a fun ride. My 2 truths and a lie. So ready, everyone? So we have, I participated in a national telethon. I also did a East Coast Ride for Charity event. And I own a restaurant franchise.
Okay, awesome. Donna, thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Iris?
Hi, my name is Iris Kaifa. I'm the manager of recruiting and retention under the product and innovation team. I've been with Realogy for 10 years, coming up in June. So I initially started as an intern with ERA under Learning and Development, transitioned to a administrative assistant for marketing and learning. From there, I moved into an ops specialist position. So I spent 5 years in ERA. From there, I transitioned into the Learning Center of Excellence in both ops specialist and eventually taking on a team leads role. And finally, my last step, I'm currently the manager of recruiting and retention for product and innovation. So it's been a long 10 years here, absolutely wonderful. In the 10 years, I have finished my bachelor's. I came in with my bachelor's degree as an intern. I was able to complete my master's of business using the tuition reimbursement program. So it's been many wonderful opportunities, both in the brand and Realogy in general. There's so many great avenues to go down within this organization.
Oh, that's awesome. And Iris, your two truths and a lie.
So my two truths and a lie. One, I had a pet squirrel in college. Two, I saved a friend from drowning in high school. And three, I was a child model.
Awesome. I said this at the last session, but I believe all of those, so it's tough for me to figure out which one will be the answer there. So good luck to everyone. Awesome. And Lindsay, glad to have you as well. Intro for yourself and your two truths and a lie, please.
Sure. I am Lindsay Listanski, the Vice President of National PR and Communications for Coldwell Banker. I'm going on my 10th year at the brand. However, I was born into Coldwell Banker. My dad is a branch vice president. My mom is an agent, so it is in my blood. I started as a social media manager for Coldwell Banker. My next step was handling all of our national advertising. I then left Coldwell Banker temporarily to go work on launching the Climb franchise. Had a quick tour of duty helping Kristen Arts with the RealSure program, and I am back at Coldwell Banker in my current position. My two truths and a lie. My family was in a Coldwell Banker commercial. I walked the Oscars red carpet as a work assignment, and I had to give up a great job offer because I got pregnant with twins.
That'd be jazzy.
Awesome. No, thank you, ladies, for all the two truths and a lie. So Nicole will put up in the chat all of those two truths and a lie so you can see them again. Whoever has all three of them in the chat after that's posted will be able to win the Amex card. So good luck to everyone there. We're going to jump into some questions. We're going to do a little up the river, down the river. So Lindsay, since you answered last, we'll start with you first. The first question for everyone is just talking about what were some strategies that you think were helpful in owning your career and why they were helpful.
Sure. So I'm going to boil this down to one overarching theme. And I would say my best thing that I've done for my career is to be like a professional networker. We have a huge advantage that we work for a Fortune 500 company that is massive and that we have so many different brands and businesses all under one Realogy umbrella. There are so many opportunities for you to get out of the business unit and brand that you're with that you could use it as a real advantage for yourself and a career accelerator. So something like this, being part of the ERGs. I was actually the founder of the NextGen ERG. One of the best things for my career. Gave me leadership opportunity, got exposure to people in other brands. I took advantage of the fact that Realogy offers real estate school. I met people at every level of the organization. I was sitting next to people from my own brand, CEOs of other brands, working on special projects, and then also figuring out who your counterpart is in the other brands and becoming friends with them, cooperating with them, collaborating, sharing best practices. So network. It's the best part of Realogy.
Lindsay, that's awesome. I appreciate that. It's part of my talk track, actually, when I interview people for the company that you bring that up. Is just talking about, right, in a normal company, there's only so much in the organization from a leadership opportunity, but we have so many verticals across Realogy. So moving to title or Cardis or whatever it might be is very possible. So awesome strategy. And you've done that. And now you're back to where you started with more knowledge. So it's awesome. Iris, what about for you? What have been some strategies that have helped on your career?
Yeah, so mine is looking for opportunities that are either within Realogy or outside to find out where you can stretch your existing skills. So mine are looking at articles for industries outside of real estate, technology that may have changed that we may be able to integrate internally, learning that we may be able to use in order to expand upon what we're currently doing. So looking for vendors that are providing resources that we're currently doing or maybe doing better that we can recreate internally. And then also volunteering for other projects. So things that may stretch your existing set of goals. Like Lindsay said, you're working cross department. you're working within some of the ERGs, you're maybe going outside of your current role and responsibilities to make those connections and to find out what your strengths actually are and create new ones for yourself.
No, that's awesome. And Iris, I agree with you, right? Knowing the industry that you're in and getting more knowledge, like, hey, what's happening with other companies, right? What's going on with them that they're competitive? It just gives you a different mark to think of what's going on and know what's going on, right? It's changing every day, and there's going to be what I would say are disruptors in the industry. So knowing what's happening is super relevant. So that's awesome.
And you can bring those back in and fold them into your current duties or expand from there. Yeah.
Exactly. So great answer. Thank you. And Donna, what about for you? Strategies that you've kind of helped on your career?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to what the ladies were saying, but I'll kind of elaborate a little bit to say stretch assignments outside of your comfort zone. I mentioned on the last call that I spent a majority of my career and always thought I was going to be in accounting. And if you think about accounting and what, say, Lindsay does for a living in a brand, it's a very different type of a role where you're really inside the organization when you're in an accounting type of a role. Whereas when you work in a brand like I leaped to next, you're really more out there and in front of people. And if I wanted all the boxes to be checked of where I was comfortable, I would never have done that, because being in front of people and presenting was an absolute phobia of mine. I can remember in college actually failing a class because the final assignment was actually to present. I was literally phobic about it and I had to overcome it. So it didn't check all the boxes, but that movement of Century 21 back in the late 90s was probably one of the best moves I made, because I've been in a business side role ever since then. The other item I'll just mention real quickly is, if you have a goal, keep at it. One of the goals that I had personally was my education. I really always wanted to go for my master's degree. And just through the course of life, I ended up getting a full-time job, and that became a lot more difficult to do. So I kind of kept at that. It took me 9 years for undergrad and then another 4 to do my master's degree at night. Wasn't always easy, but it's a big pride moment when you get through it. And it gave me something, another arrow in my quiver when that opportunity came up, so that I was kind of, had that available to me when I'm kind of going after jobs that might be stretches for me.
Absolutely. And I forget if it came up last session, someone said it, but like getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? And we started to talk about how if you're uncomfortable with something, right, you're not going to move into a place where you are comfortable unless you're getting used to doing it, practicing it. A couple months back, actually, I didn't talk about this, but Brad Nelson talked about a similar thing with Sotheby's. He didn't feel comfortable presenting, and so he looked for opportunities to continue to present and get better at it and feel more comfortable with it, so it didn't feel like such a daunting thing. So love all the answers between, industry knowledge, networking within the company, meeting counterparts, stretching yourself, making yourself feel uncomfortable to be more comfortable. So that's awesome. Donna, go ahead.
I wanted to add one other thing there on that point. Don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times failures are not the definition of you, it's how you recover. It's an adage, but it's a true adage. So don't look at an opportunity and say, I can't do everything well, so I don't want to take it. Take that opportunity, because you're going to learn how to handle adversity and get through it.
Absolutely, right? That's the learning experience there, because you might not do it that way the second time, right? You come to that same experience, and now you have that experience to do it a different way, which will be successful, even if it hurts. So that's great advice. And Donna, we're going to stick with you as we jump in to this next question. And it might be connected with what you're talking about. What's a huge lesson, over the course of your career that you've taken?
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is relationships being key to my success. Happen to be lucky enough to be at Realogy for 25 plus years, and have really, my education is great and I'm proud of it, but it's really the relationships I've been able to build over the years, not necessarily in where I am, but where I've been, and kind of carrying those relationships forward. I think it's really important to keep them and work at them, right? And be genuine. People can see right through that you're just meeting with this person because they're higher up and you want to kind of, use that opportunity. Like, be engaged, be invested, and really want to be there and be a part of that process. When we were live and kind of when I was traveling from East Coast to West Coast, I would take some time to, schedule personal meetings with people at work, have coffee with them in the morning. Virtually, what I've done instead is just, find a couple of people a month that I can actually have just a 15, 30-minute like chit chat with, and it might be about their kids or their family or how they're dealing with being home, whatever it might be, but it keeps those connections. We both walk away energized as a result. So, a lot of it's a very simple answer, but relationships, it's really been my key to success.
No, that's awesome, right? And I think we're in real estate, right? In whatever form it might be, and that's a relationship-driven industry to a large part. So building collaboration, giving value to people so you can work with them, is a huge lesson to take away. So I love that answer. Iris, what about you? What's kind of a big lesson you've turned over through your career?
Yeah, just continue learning. We have LinkedIn Learning. It's a wonderful platform where you can take additional courses to help make your skill set more robust. There are outside trainings that you can take part of, the ERGs, any of those internal organizations. We have strategic management courses internally. So there are always opportunities for you to learn something new, even if it's not in your wheelhouse, to start to prepare yourself to move on to the next step. In the last meeting, I explained how I went and I got agile training so I could understand the terminology and the process. So as we move to a more technology centered platform, I'm able to keep up and I have those advanced skills to bring me to the next level if I so choose. I can volunteer for an opportunity or be brought onto a team and be able to catch on very quickly. The other key thing I think is just, staying connected, right? We're moving throughout this organization, it's the networking, but stay in contact with the people that you meet. Know that it's more than just a working relationship, and it doesn't have to be just in the organization. We have the conferences that we go to, the brokers, the agents that we're talking to. Maybe if you go into an Inman or another industry type event, where there's always an opportunity to meet someone, learn about what they do, and maybe move in that direction if you so choose, or at least get guidance or mentorship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Iris, I love what you said. You're talking about just gaining skills that maybe you don't have, and moving forward in that place, especially if they're ones that are right at our fingertips, right? It makes it a lot simpler if the company's providing it and this is an area that you'd like to know more of. It might not even be relevant for your current job, but it might just be an interest of your long term. All of you have talked about being here for 10 years and 10 years and 25 years. We all started somewhere, right? So using the skills that you built as a baseline, you want to get to the next step. What skills does it need? Let's start building there. So when that opportunity does arise, you already have some experience, even if it's not relevant to what you're doing day to day now, but just looking forward. So I love that answer as well. Awesome. And Lindsay, for you as well, it's the last answer there.
Yeah, the biggest thing I've learned is really you own your career, right? You own your performance review, you own your career, and being really self-aware about, what you're really good at, what you love, what drains you, and making that known to those around you is really important. One of the things that was really great with me that was shared around review time was, who are your stakeholders in your career? Who are your partners? Who do you need to influence, and who are your detractors? And knowing who those people are in your career is really valuable. For me, one of the best partners I've had is my mentor, David Marine, who's my boss, but also my HR partners. I've always, from day one, been very vocal that I want to grow and I want to grow quickly. And I am very open to any opportunity, whether that's leading an ERG, which is, less formal than an actual leadership move, to exploring any brand in the building. There was a point where I had applied to a job at Century 21 and I didn't get it and I was crushed. A couple weeks later, John Payton called me and he said, you know what? I want you to lead national marketing for a Climb franchise. And I was like, what? That's crazy. I had no idea that was even an option. But because I had made it known that I wanted change, because I was comfortable in saying, it's not that I'm not happy, I'm just open to anything. I want to take advantage of everything Realogy has to offer. And I never knew that not only was that the best thing for me to learn that year, and it was an accelerated growth because that was a promotion opportunity, but it ended up being a revolving door where I came back to Coldwell Banker. I didn't know that I would eventually come back to my brand, and it was the best thing for me. So, be open to change, know who's in your corner, and really use every resource at Realogy that you have available to you.
No, that's awesome. And I think there's a lot of connections here across all three of answers, which I love. To, hey, you're uncomfortable because you heard you didn't get the job, right? That feels like a failure, but it also doesn't change, how you move forward and just growth in general, and also making it known that you want opportunities of growth, right? You have to do it on your personal side and look for those, but you also have to reach out and tell others that you report to, in this sense, hey, I want growth. How can I grow? And looking for advice there as well. So awesome answers. Lindsay, we'll move on to the next question, which is our last question for the session, and start with you. And, what advice would you give to someone? And this might be overlapping with what your last answer is, but they're looking for the next step in your career. What's the advice you'd give to them?
So I think the best advice also is, look for opportunities to exceed expectations, but also know how to measure that, right? So be really clear with those around you of what success looks like. You have rare opportunities where you're given, something above and beyond your job to show that you're exceeding expectations. Look for problems to solve. Take the job that nobody wants. Volunteer for strategic projects and special events and things like that. Those are the things that are going to set you apart from others. One of the things that I did when I was interviewing, and again, just going above and beyond, instead of just, sending an email to the hiring manager, I made a video. I made a video of myself with a voiceover of pictures at the brand saying, I am made for this job and I'm going above and beyond, trying to really stand out from the pack. So put your energy into every single thing you do, go above and beyond, and understand what success looks like.
No, that's awesome. I appreciate that advice. And like I said, all these answers are connecting. So I love that everyone's playing off of each other with similar pieces. At times, and we're going to run to Iris, you're next. It feels like, hey, my experience is so different. This person doesn't understand. Like, it's not the same for them. But obviously, we can have all really similar experiences within our career here, and we don't even know it. So I'm glad we could be talking about it. So Iris, advice from your perspective to share in someone's career growth.
Yeah, sure. It's the advice that I actually received recently and I'm working on, right? It's know what you want to do. Even if you don't have a very clear, you don't need to know this is exactly where I want to be. Have an idea of what direction you would like to go in and start working toward it, right? Be very open and honest and verbal with your manager about what you would like to achieve, your desired career path. Ensure that you are getting the insight that's necessary to get there, that you're getting the skills and training, even if it's not something that's being given to you, that you're seeking it on your own if this is something that you're honestly interested in. There are so many opportunities available for you. And constantly express to others that you're working with, either if it's on projects or cross-functionally, that you're interested in what they're doing, if that's the direction you would like to go in. People are super excited to talk about what they do if they're passionate about it. Everyone is more than happy to mentor you or at least put you in touch with another party. So if you're open, you're verbal, you're honest, and you're trusting, then the doors will be opened for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those conversations can also yield, if there is a project that's not a part of your day-to-day, and now you've expressed interest in something, a category or a sphere, they might say, hey, you told me you had interest in this. I actually need a little bit of help. Like, can you take on this small responsibility and then being involved in something you might not have known about before? So I love that. You have to make yourself known, even if it's uncomfortable, and even if you fail, right? So to tie back into some of the points all of you have made. So thank you, Iris. And Donna, for that, close us out on your advice for someone's career growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of along the same themes. I mean, I think a lot of us who grow within the organization, you bounce around to different roles. And I personally can use the term identity crisis, that you can eventually get into a position where you don't really know how to describe who you are. And that can put you in a negative scenario where if you were like going for now a stretch assignment and you have a leader who's asking, why you are the right candidate, you need to be able to articulate that, who you are and why you match up well with that job. So, I'll go back to the learning. LinkedIn Learning has a really good course about knowing my personal brand. It helps you to really kind of hone in on what your skills are, know who you are, know what you do, and know why you are valuable to the organization, not only because of who you think you are, but who others think you are. And also build, to Iris's point, maybe it's your manager, to Lindsay's point, maybe it's HR, or maybe it's someone else, but find yourself a little bit of a personal network to help you to see who you are, because you can really well round who you are based upon how others see you too, because you're going to be tapped on the shoulder for positions. If you do a good job, that's going to happen, but you'll get to a point where you're going to do a lot of the tapping yourself. So you've got to be able to really articulate who you are and why you're the right candidate for that job, and knowing who you are is really going to kind of position you well for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the thing, Donna, I would add to that is asking for feedback, from whoever you report to or whoever you work with, whether it's your peers, obviously that can be an uncomfortable conversation, or just people hey, give me feedback. Is there something I could be doing better or doing differently that you think would be more collaborative? Because that's going to be the growth model, and also knowing, hey, who am I? These are my strengths, because people are giving me that feedback that they see me as this, not this person, but they see me doing this really well. And if there's other areas that they don't feel you're doing well that you could build on, then hey, how do I get advice? Who can I go to for advice in these areas? So all wonderful things. I missed this step in our last session, so I won't miss it before I pass it back to Nicole. But ladies, please tell us, what is the 2 truths and a lie technically from yours, so we know what they are. And Don, we'll start with you and then go back around.
My truth is I did participate in a national telethon for Alex's Lemonade. I also owned a restaurant franchise called Zoop. I did not participate in an East Coast ride for charity. That is my lie.
Okay, awesome. And Iris?
I did have a pet squirrel in college. His name was Squirrely. To ride on my shoulder. I have photos. Love that animal. I did save a friend from drowning in high school. I was actually a lifeguard, and I was a lifeguard all through college, and swimmer. And so that was a very scary experience, but I'm glad I was there to help them. And I was not a child model. My daughter is. She was actually in the Toys R Us kids catalog. Yes, she was, Miss Thora. So yeah, so that is the lie. It was not me. It was my baby. It
Awesome.
got passed on.
Awesome. And Lindsay?
My family was in a Coldwell Banker commercial. It was the same video that went viral of me telling my mom that I was pregnant. It's gotten like millions of views. It's absolutely ridiculous. She falls on the ground and carries on. It's amazing. Tori and I did walk the Oscars red carpet for a work assignment because we were having a Coldwell Banker commercial air, and it was like one of the coolest experiences ever. I did get the job despite being pregnant. So shout out to Realogy and shout out to Coldwell Banker. We support working women and pregnant moms. I was so nervous when I was in the interview process to tell them I was pregnant, and it had zero impact. And I think that's a huge testament to what an awesome company we work for.
Oh, that's awesome. Ladies, thank you so much. And lastly, Nicole, before we pass it over, 25 minutes never seems like enough. And so Donna, Iris, and Lindsay have all agreed that they would love to hear from you. If you have questions, you felt a relation to something they said, please reach out to them. Ask for a virtual coffee or 5 minutes of their time to just hear about maybe your situation, get advice, get perspective, and we're happy to help you where you are. So thank you for everyone attending. Nicole, I'll pass to you.
Thank you, Jason. And thank you to all, Jason for leading this and the ladies for being amazing. I thought of you all when we were putting this together. So thank you for coming on board. And big shout outs to Katie Kandari and Sarah Stevenson, who were the behind the scenes magicians who made this all look amazing and ensured that we had a great time here today. And also Melissa Huntsman, who I'm going to throw in a little flyer into the chat so you guys can have a little tidbit of NextGen to take with you. And we'll sort of wrap it up and say, if you want to contact us, please reach out. If you want to be part of NextGen, we have a meeting next week, Wednesdays through 3 to 4. And we want to hear from you. Our winner, we did already find out our winner. So for those of you who were guessing the lies, Lindsay Newler, you are the winner of this session and will be receiving a $50 Amex. So all of you for playing, you're still winners in my heart, and really excited that you came here today. So thanks everybody, and have a terrific rest of your day and enjoy the rest of Day of Understanding. Bye everybody.
Bye.
Thank you guys. Congrats, Lindsay.